Well, time is ticking, and the world is waiting for the Biden administration's response to the multi-front war involving Gaza, Iran, Israel, and the region. On one hand, it's thought that a strong and resolute stand on Iran, including a robust military retaliation against Iran's proxies and agents in the region in response to the killing of 3 U.S. soldiers at a base in Jordan by a drone launched by pro-Iranian militia in Iraq. On the other hand, it is thought that an unprecedented U.S. diplomatic initiative to promote a Palestinian state, whatever the decision is, it's clear that the U.S. will not let Iran chase them out of the region. Meanwhile, Biden has once again reiterated his efforts to bring Hamas-held Israeli hostages home.
Not only do we pray for peace, we are actively working for peace, security, dignity for the Israeli people and the Palestinian people. I'm engaged in this day and night and working, as many of you in this room are, to find the means to bring our hostages home, to ease the humanitarian crisis, and to bring peace to Gaza and Israel, and enduring peace with two states for two people.
Well, for the very latest, I'm joined from Tel Aviv by Arise special correspondent Karl Bostic. Karl, good to see you. We started this conversation yesterday, and now Biden is making it more clear. First, the U.S. won't be stampeded into leaving that area for the bad guys. Let us in on more developments in the region.
Good evening. Well, what we're faced with right now is just overlapping crises confronting not only Israel but also the U.S. Because right now, for example, you mentioned the travel to Cairo by the political leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, in Cairo for possible hostage release deal. I think, in broad terms, here in Israel is what's the best way to end the war? How do you satisfy Saudi Arabia, which would have a major role to play in not only stabilizing Gaza, but also the potential rebuilding of Gaza? And then finally, pleasing far-right cabinet members, because this is a coalition government, and those far-right cabinet ministers, they don't want to see an excessive deal that would see the release of so many Palestinian prisoners, thousands, or an abrupt withdrawal, and actually have a collapse of the Israeli government. So very simply put, in terms of what's going on in Cairo, Hamas is studying this deal put together by Qatar and Egypt. We're looking at a pause of at least 6 weeks, 3 phases. The release of the elderly, women and children, those that are still alive, to put things in context. A few weeks ago we were saying 136 people were still being held captive in Gaza. Now it's being suggested that at least 27 of them are already dead. So there's the problem of identifying who's still alive for that first round of those to be released. Women, children, the elderly, in exchange for probably hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. And this time, Hamas wants high-value release. A second phase would be the release of military personnel, especially female soldiers. What's being banned in media, as many as 150 Palestinians per female soldier. And then finally, and also the soldiers, and then finally the third round, the release of those bodies. But we don't even know who's alive, and more could still be killed. The problem is Hamas is saying that they want Israel to completely withdraw its forces from Gaza. Netanyahu's gone on air saying repeatedly Israel will not withdraw its troops, nor will they end the war. So that's why this deal could still fall apart. And that's why there's a lot of anxiety right there. And as far as Saudi Arabia is concerned, they're saying they're willing to normalize relations with Israel, but if there's a path to a sovereign Palestinian state. And that's what Saudi Arabia wants to see. And they'll say they'll also invest in the rebuilding of Gaza. Now, about 60% of its buildings have been damaged or destroyed. 90% of the people have been displaced. And basically, Saudi Arabia and Gulf states are saying, we're going to invest in Gaza. If there's going to be another war in 5 or 6 years that would destroy everything that's been built. And then finally, you've got the far right, members of the government. Again, this is a coalition government where his position as prime minister only holds by 3 seats out of the Knesset, 60 to 61. And if they withdraw their support because they think a deal has been given too much to Hamas, the point being is they don't want to reward Hamas with a victory by Israeli troops pulling out of Gaza. They will pull out of the government will collapse, and you're back to the starting gate, and you're looking at options. So that's the frenzy that's going on right now.
Well, Karl Bostic, I think I'd like to leave it there. Many thanks for your time as always. Karl Bostic, our special correspondent who's live in Tel Aviv, bringing us update on the war between Israel and Hamas.